Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to All Things Social Security. I am Stephanie Joy, the attorney at Joy Disability. Welcome to the channel, and I hope you enjoy the video. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. I am Stephanie Joy with All Things Social Security and the law practice of Joy Disability. So good to see you. Just today, we're going to talk a little bit about CDRs. Most of you are going to get them if you haven't had them already, and most of you will have another one, assuming you don't go back to work and cease collecting Social Security disability or SSI. Okay, so the issue that I wanted to discuss was that simply because I was doing a consultation on CDR today, and I thought it would be worthy of a share. When you're going through a CDR, oftentimes, if it's a full CDR or somewhat of a full CDR, they're going to ask you potentially to do a function report. Now, you probably remember you did a function report when you first applied. You may have done two, because sometimes now they ask for one on reconsideration if you went that far. They do not ask for one when you're going to ALJ hearing, just so you know, because you are going to be able to testify to all those things. You don't need to submit it in writing. Okay, so when you have a CDR function report to complete, you're probably saying, okay, I'll just fill it out. And that's definitely what you're going to do. But I think it's helpful to have your original function report, because you can see that's back at your basically your potentially your comparison point when you were awarded. Now, if you've had a CDR since then, I think the CDR you had most recently would be your most recent comparison point. But let's assume for the moment you have not had a CDR yet. Then I would review my old function report. You're probably going to see differences. There's a good chance you're going to see some things worse. You might have new conditions that didn't limit you then that do now. So if I were you, I would look at those things and I would take notes, on question number 5. How is this different now? And, we have videos on question number 5. It's a big question on the function report. It's pretty important. I suggest you watch those so that you don't make any of the errors that make your case look not based in full reality and giving kind of a twisted notion that you neither did not intend and is not an accurate reflection, because that's how words can be sometimes. And it depends how you interpret the question at the time, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not going to go into how to do question number 5, but I would look at that question. I would definitely look at the others too, but I would do the same for question 6. You might see that you described, a pretty genteel day, but you didn't say how much you nap during the day, which you do a lot of now, or how many times you have to go get on the recliner to elevate your legs due to swelling and edema. So those are the kind of things you can add. And again, I would look at, question number 6 and question number 5, those videos, to think of things that you might not be thinking about that you would want to include if the shoe fits. Same with number 20. So when you look at your function report from before, you might have had some things that are better now because you've had treatment and it's improved. So it's really important that you do not forget to include new impairments or stronger limitations or impairments you had before, but they weren't limiting and now they are. I would go ahead and make sure to take note of those, because if you are seen to have improved in some way, whether you have or not, maybe it's because you did less treatment, maybe you stopped going to a doctor, whatever the case may be, your additional new impairments, when functionally limiting beyond extremely mildly, will be used to ensure that you could still go back to work or not go back to work. So even if your old impairment was improved to that, if that's improved, that person can go back and do sedentary work now. But maybe you can't because, you can't sit that long because your feet swell up like balloons. You need to go get off task, take a break 3 times in an 8-hour day for 45 minutes to go elevate your legs. That would be inconsistent with satisfactorily performing a job as is customarily performed and tolerated by employers. Compare your current function report that you're working on, or I should say, develop it, draft it, maybe have some notes, like I said, with the numbers, and look at your old one. It's going to give you quite a bit of guidance, and it's going to give you some perspective, because you're going to see what you said 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and you're gonna notice a lot of differences. I would do the same, guys, with your application receipt, where you first put down your impairments that you are claiming. If you went to ALJ hearing, you definitely want to go through the ALJ decision. And I know you're saying, oh my God, I can't read that. It's 25 pages. Sometimes they are. I don't think you have to do that. There is a paragraph in there. It's in bold. I don't know that the number is universal, because it depends what he's talking about, certain issues that might have come up before. But there is one of the numbered bolded paragraphs. So it's a bolded paragraph, and then all the rhetoric is below the bolded paragraph. And it says that he finds you to have a residual functional capacity to do light work. Sorry, my eye itches. Sedentary work, these allergies, guys, or whatever the RFC and any postural or manipulative limitations were included in that. You kind of want to know that because that might also spur you on to say, oh my God, that doesn't even talk about my blah, blah, blah. It can also help you realize new impairments that you have that weren't included that you're going to want to make sure are included. If that's the ALJ decision. Same, did I say the application receipt? I think I said that too. Both of those things, the application is going to have your claimed impairments that disabled you in combination or singly, whereas the ALJ opinion will have the ones that were established to be severe impairments and then non-severe impairments versus I don't find this to be an impairment at all, not even diagnosed. Those can both give you the mental triggers you need to say, oh, but it doesn't include this, this, and this. And it can just definitely help you remember more things that you're going to want to include in your CDR information where asked. And also all of those things can help you do a more accurate, reflective function report if they've asked for the function report on the CDR. So that is something we worked on today in consultation with somebody. So it was essentially function report work, but in the environment of a CDR. And so we wanted to do a little bit. There's a comparison point, and we need to know what that is. A, it's going to help. It's going to be what they're looking at when they decide whether you have improved enough to go back to work. A, have you improved? B, is it enough to go back to work? So as you do a CDR, think about that. It might not be a bad idea for those of you that are like, I'm in the year that I'm supposed to get a CDR. Download a function report from the internet. They're available. They're probably available on the SSA site too. But I would, it doesn't hurt you to kind of get that started. You might have to rewrite it or something, or you can actually type in the form fields. I just don't know that you can then save it to a flattened copy. We had a little bit of discussion of that today because I don't know what copy it was. I know with our function report, when we help people and we type it up for them, we made our own form fields, which doesn't mean it's perfect, but they are able to be. They're not encrypted like the one you can get from SSA.gov. So you almost don't even want to use that one because you can't adjust things. You can't adjust the field size or the font in there if you need more room to squeeze more in. So, but yeah, I mean, it was all in the guise of, in the environment, in the context of a CDR. And I don't know if they give function reports on every full-blown CDR. I really don't know. They might be more up to do it if it's a younger individual. It's not really clear, but anywho. That is how we would address it, getting that function report so it can be supporting your contention that you are still disabled and unable to work any job full time. And so you want to do the best job you can on it. Because remember, it's not so much that the function report is going to win you your case, because if you haven't been treating, then you're lacking evidence altogether, medical evidence, which is the foundation of any case and medical determination finding. But it can sink your ship, just as it can when you're on initial or recon. If you say something that can be twisted so out of line, it can come back and bite you. And it can be cited as part of the reason for the denial. Well, he says he just walked 5 miles, so I don't really think he has a really bad back. Hobby is walking 5 miles or going on hikes up the mountain, and maybe what the person meant was, back in the day, that was my hobby. Because you will notice on the function report, just as an aside, the question about hobbies, it doesn't say, what were the hobbies you used to do? It says, what are they now? And it doesn't say, what are they now? Well, they don't put the word now in, I think. It might just say, it's going to say, do I have one up here? I might have one up here. Let me just see the exact words. Let's see. Is it? Yes. What are your hobbies and interests? For example, reading, watching TV, sewing, sports, etc. So it doesn't say now, it doesn't say before. Now, technically it says, what are they? But the word hobby is so esoteric in a way. People call hobbies things they are interested in. So if you used to be a hiker and you aren't now, you might still be hiking on the brain because you have hiking magazines that you subscribe to and whatever, and you put in hiking. And they don't say, remember, we only want the ones you do now. I mean, they do go down below to say, describe any changes in these activities since the illness. So they do kind of ameliorate kind of what they've done with that kind of not specific saying only what you do now, right? But sometimes I just don't know about that. I mean, it seems a little snaky. But those kind of things are things you want to watch out for, amongst other things. When you're number 6, you don't want to be, and I told you I wasn't going to go into these, but let me just say real quick. If it looks like you're a retired person having a nice life of leisure, that's not going to be too helpful for your SSD claim. And it doesn't have to be, because if that's the way you're describing it, you're not fully describing your day, guaranteed. So anyway, but you can check out the videos on those. They're named, they have the very number in the title, so you don't have to do a whole function report video, which would take, a couple hours. You could just go right to the question that you're interested in. All right, guys, CDRs and function reports, the 3 different documents that can help you. The function report, your old one, and I would say the most recent one. It's probably the most important. So the most recent one you did, if it was another CDR, otherwise from your application, your ALJ decision, if you had one, and your application where you applied and where you put down your impairments. You could skim through and see what you were treating for too, because you described kind of what each doctor you went to was treating you for. That might help you too. But anyway, it'll help you trigger some recollections and some things you just might not think about when you're doing it otherwise. So, all righty. Hope that helps, guys. I will talk to you later.